Well, good morning, church family. Today is day 32 of our 40-day challenge through the Psalms. We're reading Psalms 125, 126, 127, and 128 today. And I want to talk today about Psalm 125. And it starts off with this wonderful image, this wonderful picture. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken, but endures forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people both now and forevermore. Have you ever kicked a rock? I mean, like really kicked a rock. You can, or the ground even. Have you really kicked something like that and felt the force of that immovable object on your foot? So I never have kicked a rock that hard, but I've certainly kicked rocks and have kicked small boulders. Maybe you've walked through your room at night and stubbed your toe on a chest. You can just think about, wow, that is powerful. And what's powerful about it is that just think of how small something has to be in order for it to really kind of hurt your foot. If you're kicking at it, how small does something have to be if you give it a good swing with your foot that it's going to hurt? And it doesn't have to be that big. And here's what the psalmist tells us in this verse. He says, those who trust in the Lord are immovable, like a mountain, not just a small rock, not just a small boulder, not just a big boulder, not just a hill, not just a mountain. It is immovable. It cannot be shaken. And that is what this psalmist is telling us. When we trust in the Lord, we become immovable. We become those whose foundations are sure. I desperately need that. I desperately need to know that when I am turning to the Lord, that he is going to have my back. I desperately need to know that when I try to do something, if I am trusting in the Lord, I know his plans are firm. I know that his care for me is secure. And here's the other part of this verse that I really like from verse 2. The mountains surround Jerusalem like a, what does it say? As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people, both now and forevermore. Yeah, think about this picture. I think of any kind of city that's nestled in a valley. Jerusalem is actually up on a hill. There's mountains kind of around it, but think of any city that's nestled in a valley. There's comfort there, right? We know then that you're kind of protected on multiple sides. When Susan and I lived in West Virginia, we would go to the Walmart, and behind Walmart, this picturesque landscape, because there was mountains just off in the distance, and it just was beautiful. And I think of that. The Lord is firm, and he's immovable as a rock, but he also comforts. He surrounds his people, he embraces his people, and he holds them close. I think of a time that you as a child, or maybe with your children, your parents come pick you up and just grab you and hold you and squeeze you tight and make sure that you knew that they were there. And we do that with our kids too. We just, you grab them up and you give them a tight hug, and you make sure that they know that you're there for them. You are not going anywhere. And that's really God's promise to his people in this psalm, Psalm 125, that he is immovable and he surrounds and cares for his people. And that promise lasts forever for all of his people through all times, through all generations. And so continue to trust in the Lord, continue to lean on his promises, and lean into his embrace. That's our word for today from Psalm 125. I look forward to seeing you again soon.